And on behalf of the leadership team mentioned on the title slide here, welcome. And I think we've got a really exciting agenda for you. All right, let's advance this. First of all, I'll kick it off with some community updates, and then Jan's going to go over the Patternfly roadmap, and Aaron Donahue is going to talk about some upcoming redesigns to the navigation on patternfly.org. Andrew and Lucia will be talking about some unified designs that the team has been working on for about the last 6 months now. Michael Coker is going to talk to us about a new layout within Patternfly called Compass. We have a breakdown on some work on the brand UI icons, excuse me, from Becca. And Eric Olkowski is going to be talking about some enhancements that came through in Q4 for the chatbot. And finally, I'm going to wrap it up, the presentations anyway, with just a quick demo of a metrics dashboard POC. And in that context, follow up on some responses we got from the feedback button that I talked about at our last community meeting. So with all that said, let me turn it over to, oh no, it's me. Sorry, I thought we were going to the roadmap. All right, so the community updates. So just a reminder to sign up for our mailing list to make sure you receive community meeting reminder and newsletters. Yeah, back to me. Just another thing to make sure everybody knows, our forum's been sunset. So if you want to engage in any discussions with the team, go to our GitHub discussions instead. There's the link right there in the presentation. Our new chatbot release is live, and I think Eric's going to be talking a little bit more about some details there. And we have some recent Medium articles we wanted to point your attention to. There's one on human-human AI interaction. I believe that was Nadav. Building a better bot together. I don't remember who did that one. Oh, sorry. Raising the bar for accessibility. I think Eric did that one. And the dual mandate for design system maturity, that was Jan, and that was just recently published. And my apologies to the author of Building a Better Bot Together. Oh, it was Rebecca. Sorry, and she's not here, so she didn't even get to hear my apology. All right. Very cool. All that said, so just here's some links, easy links to add the community meetings and office hours to your calendar. And just a reminder of what we're all about there. We meet every quarter just to share release updates and let you know what's been going on in and around the Patternfly universe. And we also host Patternfly office hours. Everybody's welcome to that. Bring all your questions, any things you want to talk about, and we'll be happy to address them. All righty, now I believe it's time to turn it over to Jan, and she'll be talking about our roadmap.
Thanks, Pat. We're really excited about all the new work that we will be building and delivering in 2026. So I'm going to take a few slides to talk about those efforts. First, this one, this really speaks to our focus areas of early 2026, which will be delivering our new Red Hat brand aligned theme and providing new capabilities to support AI in our products. So Red Hat Unified Theme effort began in 2025, bringing together teams from Red Hat Brand, Red Hat Design System, and Patternfly. This collaboration focused on designing a new Red Hat branded visual theme that will unify our customer experiences across the portfolio. Red Hat also had some projects like Genie and Nexus that kicked off in 2025, exploring how to bring the power of AI into our product experiences. So these new AI experience explorations have raised a need for new layouts, components, and component variations within the Patternfly design system. Patternfly's Compass proof of concept provides product teams with a new rapid iteration tool that they can use to deliver these AI experiences. As we roll into 2026, Patternfly is taking what we learned from our Compass POC and executing on delivering a new unified theme and expanding our AI capabilities. Next slide, please. So, double clicking into like, what is this unified theme and what will we be delivering at the end of Q1? There will be some global updates to all themes. This will include some small brand-aligned visual refinements to existing Patternfly components. We will have some new features. We'll have some new layouts that we'll talk more about later in this presentation, including our conversational first and max canvas layouts. There'll be some new components and new component variants and brand icons and high contrast mode. It's a lot. We're really excited about Q1. And then Becca is going to talk a little bit more later in this presentation about those new brand icons. So all those things will happen in both of the themes that we will deliver at the end of Q1. So think about our existing theme as our blue or our corporate look and feel that also supports our open source community. There will be some small visual refinements that will roll out with that theme. Glass and background images will be an optional feature that could be turned on with the corporate theme, and the brand icons will be optional to turn on and enable as well. For the new unified theme, that blue primary color will be replaced by our Red Hat corporate color. We'll have some pill shapes with larger border radii that'll be applied to things like drawers, buttons, and menu toggles. So you'll see some visual changes there. Andrew and Lucia will be talking more about that later in the presentation. And we also have glass and background images that will be default on with this new Red Hat unified theme. And the brand icons, again, they'll be enabled by default. And the intent there is to amplify our new branded experience. Next slide. I think you can actually go forward to Pat, because we really just want to talk a little bit about our plan for Q1 and that delivery. So you see the things in this first column here, like updated visual styles, glass and background images, brand icons, Figma design kits, high contrast. These are all kind of our big rocks that we will be working on to deliver at the end of Q1 to support that new unified theme. In column 2, we're moving on to AI enablement. Our Patternfly team is working to build a CLI tool to help expedite rapid prototyping with the Patternfly design system. 2025, and as we're kicking off 26, AI tools are really an important part of enterprise software development, and we want to make sure that anyone in our ecosystem can use Patternfly to do rapid prototyping and that it's easy to do. So the idea behind the CLI tool is run a couple commands and you're able to get started really quickly with our Patternfly seed application. Chatbot, we have some new features planned for Q1. Eric will be speaking to those later in the presentation. We also have plans to help the Percy's upstream project, building a new Patternfly enabled front end that will be able to be themed for integration with other Patternfly built products. And then our last column, we will continue product enablement efforts with our various Red Hat teams, engineering teams here. A lot of them are giving us really valuable feedback that will continue to shape our new unified theme effort. And last, just our normal release readiness tasks for Q1. Next slide, please. So on this slide, we have a other feature work that we'll be looking at. The first column is our bucket of like exploratory work. So we will continue to take a look at the WCAG Ag 2.2 standards and see what we need to do to upgrade the Patternfly design system to support that. We've been looking at container queries and how that could help some of our component experiences, and a replacer for Popper, I think, which is hit maybe an end of life kind of situation for support. So we're looking to upgrade that in the design system. Middle column is possible feature work, just a few collections of items here, like potential updates, community actually contribution to topology to support a ghost node, table view export example for downloading data from our table view component, just what that visual experience would be, and then a couple of other enablement requests from product teams here at Red Hat. And then our last column is our design infrastructure. We will start talking about how we can unify our design tokens with the Red Hat design system. So that's our ideal, is to take our unified theme effort a step further in unifying Patternfly's design tokens with Red Hat design system. And next slide, please. Last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about some user research that we have been doing in addition to talking to our product stakeholders. The insight from this research provides us some design decisions and validates existing concepts. We are primarily focused on testing Patternfly in the context of user experiences in Red Hat products like Ansible Nexus. You can see that in the first example here, because this really exercises our design system features and visuals in real world applications. We are exploring some more granular user testing, like this icon survey for our AI experiences. This exploration was collecting some data on how users expect to be notified or visual indications of AI generated content. And then the last but not least, the glass effect usability study. Again, just looking to collect some data on the legibility, perceived usability, and aesthetic appeal of this new visual element that we're adding to our design system. We hope to add more user research activities as we continue forward in Q1. But that wraps up the roadmap. Thanks, Pat, and I will hand it back to you.
All right, thanks, Jen. Next up is Aaron.
Yeah, all right, I'll take over.
Yep.
To give an update on the navigation redesign we have coming for our website. So you can go ahead and move ahead. We've tried to kind of give some indication as to this happening here and there throughout the process. It's been kind of over a year of research and design and planning, but want to kind of get into it a little bit more and preview what's coming up soon. So just for a little bit of background, in 2025, I conducted a research study using tree testing and card sorting to uncover some of the pain points that might exist with our website navigation as it exists today. And so that research helped identify and also quantify some usability issues that we had and motivate a new navigation design to hopefully make it easier to find information with more confidence on our website. So these 4 points here were kind of the key insights taken away from the research that helped motivate the design. So kind of honing in on clear labels, helping drive confidence, having an understanding that our design language sometimes weakens confidence. Structure will help break down complexity using the navigation, and quote unquote irrelevant content can create noise for our users. And so I've linked here the full research readout, which does require Red Hat login, but that goes into more details on the study design and findings. If you'll go to the next slide, even if you can't access that research readout, we will still kind of share more details about the story on Medium. And so be on the lookout for that. We'll make sure to promote it when it does kind of get released. So this is a preview of the new navigation. The main changes that you'll see are this chunked structure with horizontal dividers and group names to help organize our docs and provide a little bit more structure there. And then throughout, there's also been pages that are renamed for clarity or accuracy, some moving around for more intentional organization, and elevating certain resources a little bit higher, as well as standardizing some overview pages in some of these major sections on our website. So this image here, this design is already in place on our staging website, which is linked on this slide, but it's also at staging.patternfly.org. So you can already kind of play around with it there and see how it goes. But we've kind of checked for bugs and fixed everything that we found so far. So that will be pushed live with our next Patternfly release. Yeah. And that's all for me.
All right, next up is Andrew and Lucia talking, gonna give us a demo of and tell us about the work on unified theming designs. I'm gonna stop sharing and turn it over to either Andrew or Lucia to grab the screen.
So I'll share this initial screen anyway, and then I'll stop sharing. Just one second. Okay, so we've been working on this project for the past 6-ish months. I think we started in early or late June, where we're working with the Red Hat design system team and also the Red Hat brand team. We've been taking a lot of inspiration from different product areas, but mainly we wanted to try and create a better, more seamless experience for Red Hat consumers who are kind of navigating between product and support and all the different parts of the ecosystem that we offer. So this will also help us with some of the new generative UI projects that are coming out, and having one consistent experience so that you can use either design system and kind of be able to leverage both of them in one UI potentially, but it'll have that same kind of look and feel. And then we also want to elevate and bring more feature parity. There's web components and React components, and they have different states. There's different offerings. We want to try and bring that closer together as well and have a little bit more parity between the systems. So all the design work that we've been doing in collaboration will be demoed in a second by Lucia, but we're hoping to wrap up the unified theme design work in this quarter. We're working on the actual dev implementation as well. So I will stop sharing and I'll pass it off to Lucia.
Thank you. Yeah, so you can see my screen. Cool. This, I'm going to just walk you through some examples of product screens, and I'm going to just do a little before and after, default pattern fly, the unified Red Hat, and then I'll also walk through both light and dark modes. So this example here is just a classic card view, classic product layout using pattern fly. You'll see though that this has some of the updates that we're making to default pattern fly to enable the unified theme work. So some things to highlight is the new accent mark in our navigation. You'll see that's a new style. We are adding in, enhancing a number of our existing components to bring more parity, like Andrew said, with some of the digital UX web components. So they had a concept of an accented card or an accented tile. We'll be bringing that into our card component. So there's an example here where you can have the blue accent mark on a card. There's also this hero card that we're introducing that was influenced by Red Hat brand and digital design system. And we've also incorporated some feedback that we had gotten from early Patternfly 6 designs that we thought would be a good opportunity as well to bring in some of the updated styles. So we're including a little bit more elevation across the board in our cards and in our UIs. So this is default theme, kind of a classic layout. And then if I switch on the unified styles, you'll see that those accent marks in the feature tile and the navigation have turned to that Red Hat red. It's important to note that this button right here is a CTA. So this red style on buttons is limited more towards marketing material. Our standard primary buttons will still be blue. We don't want to, I know that there's a lot of concern around using that red for like across the UI for danger purposes. Don't want to get it confused. And then you'll also see some of the pill shapes that we're pulling forward. So this accent or highlight in our navigation and in our buttons was squared off in our default theme. We've just kind of made that pill shape a little bit more ubiquitous in the unified theme. And you can also see that in our menu toggles. And then I'll show the dark version. So this is standard, dark, and then the unified. This is an example of dashboard layout, but we're pulling in some more of those compass layout styles, which Coker will get into in the next presentation. But you can see that this is our default Patternfly theme, but with glass enabled. So I have a kind of placeholder background image in here, but you can see some transparency behind the cards. You'll also see we're introducing docked nav. You can see that on the left. And then this is switching on the Red Hat theme. So we're switching to a branded image in the background here. And then you can also see that we've peeled off some things, changed our branded highlights to red. And then dark mode. And then this is max canvas compass layout. Again, we'll get more into detail with this, but you can just see that a lot of the new styles for unified theme are really highlighted when you have glass enabled, you're using the new compass layout, and just using all of our new features together, it makes a really big difference on our product screens to make them much more modern. And dark mode. And then I wanted to share how we have this all synced up. Most of this is handled on our global styles and our tokens. So I have just a Figma screen here. I have all of those new unified styles built into our design tokens in Figma. And it's very easy to swap between them. Figma just released a new feature called extended collections, which allows you to swap through some like larger themes and then still handle the mode switching between light, dark, high contrast, and high contrast dark modes. So this is a standard default Patternfly screen with just our flat light mode applied. If I wanted to swap on glass mode, it's very easy to do so. Light glass, dark glass. And we also will have our high contrast enabled for both of these two. Looks like some of the style might have dropped off from that one. And then again, just to switch between the unified tokens, it's just a switch of a toggle. You'll get those red accents. You'll also get the updated border styles, and then you can swap those between light, dark, light glass, dark glass, and then high contrast. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew and Lucia. Let me get my screen back here. Next up, Michael Coker will be talking to us about the compass layout.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, okay, so this is a layout that we've mentioned. We've been working on a proof of concept for and are currently building it out, and want to show what it looks like and talk about it a little bit. So first off, what is it? It's a new layout for conversational first generative UI experiences in Patternfly. You can see a screenshot on the side. It's similar to what Lucia had just presented a little, but this is a traditional compass layout. So you can see here it's a top, left, bottom, and right sections with the focal point being the center stage with the content, where your generative UI content will update. It's built with Patternfly styles and design tokens. It uses our existing styles and everything to naturally just be part of the Patternfly ecosystem. So while this looks a little bit different, these are just Patternfly components for the 99% of them so far. There's just changes in the design language a bit, a lot of what Lucia had just spoken about. And it's designed to work with Patternfly, the existing Patternfly components, layouts, and themes. So similar to how Lucia had shown, light and dark theme, high contrast, all of the existing Patternfly components and layouts and things fit into this layout as well. So you can go to the next slide. So what does it look like? This is a dark theme version of the same screen. Like I mentioned before, it consists of a main content container, which is the content in the center, And then there's a header, left and right sidebars, and then a bottom chat bar. So that's for your messaging with the AI on the page. Have glass-like visual effects, so transparencies and blurs and background images behind the page, and so some of that shows through. Support for background images. In this demo, you can see a background image on the page. You can see the gradient section at the top where it says, you can barely read it, automation that does more, I think is what that says. There's a background image on the right side of that. So some cool new features that allow you to add images in different sections. And then there's some new micro animations, like when the page is thinking and updating things on the page, expansion of the header, footer, sidebars, etc. And then next slide. That's pretty much it. When's it going to be available? Just look for it in our upcoming Q1 release. It'll be released as beta. So that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Sorry, I just advanced past your title slide, Becca, but you're up.
Okay. So as Jane kind of mentioned earlier, I'm touching base on a little bit of the changes and things coming up for the new brand UI icons. So why are we updating our UI icons in the first place? Currently, Patternfly strategy kind of creates a fragmented user experience, and there's a lot of technical inconsistencies. So from a design side, we have a mix of both Patternfly icons and Font Awesome icons in our component file. And this kind of creates incohesive, like an incohesive look, basically, because those icon sets have very different styling. And then from a development side, there are different delivery methods between Core and React. So there are subtle differences in like icon sizing and alignment within our components. So the goal was basically to unify our icons so we could strengthen our brand and make the user experience more reliable, visually appealing, and easier to build. So the kind of timeline and who worked on this, the design team for Patternfly, we worked with the Red Hat brand team all this last year. So Q1 was all about investigation and research. We looked at the icon parity between the Figma component library, our icons on patternfly.org, and then the Red Hat brand UI icons, and kind of looked at the differences and which ones were missing in different places. So we then took that in Q2 and did some feedback and iteration. We conducted an audit to identify which of the Patternfly Font Awesome icons and brand icons needed to be remade in the new UI style. Any of the high priority icons, so those frequently used across Red Hat products, were sent directly to the brand team for them to start working on. But for some of the lower priority, like custom icons that were not used as much, we sent a survey out to the UXD team to kind of determine if it was important to redesign those in the new style or if we could just deprecate them. And then once we got those results, we sent those along to brand as well. So all of Q3, brand, they were doing the heavy load. They recreated our full icon library set in the new style, and then we kind of worked with them to fill in the gaps. And then the end of this year was kind of focused on planning and working together to come up with a communication strategy for actually using and rolling out these new icons. So a little special shout out to Ryan Williams and Amanda Perlswig, because they did a lot of the hard work for this on the brand side. So next slide. So what are the main changes to our icons? I've got some examples here, kind of some of the simple ones for you guys to see as I talk through this, but basically the new UI icons use a thinner but still legible stroke weight. So it kind of matches the style of the brand standard and technology icons. It also lightens them up a little bit, makes them a little less bulky in the UI. They also use the same visual metaphors and association as other Red Hat visuals. So in the brand portal, things like 3D objects, illustrations, and other icon types. So just kind of making those consistent. I think in some of the other icons, not these three examples specifically, but in some of the other ones, there's also some breaks in the lines, which again, matches some of the other icon styles and kind of aligns the personality trait for brand of openness. And then we also rounded corners and ends to stylize them a little bit more to make them feel more approachable. So these are just 3 simple examples of those. And then the next slide is just what's coming next. So in Q1 of this year, we're focusing on delivery and transition and maintenance. So for delivery, these brand UI icons will become the future default set for the Patternfly design system. They will be used in the new unified theme that Andrew and Lucia were talking about, as well as Red Hat AI experiences. And then they'll be available to optionally use with the existing default Patternfly theme. So in terms of maintenance and transitioning to this, the Patternfly team is going to work to help product teams ensure that the icons that they're using is like that usage is consistent. We don't really want a mix of old and new icons in one UI because that kind of just adds to the inconsistency visually. And then we're also going to help brand teams identify and request new custom icons. So anything that's missing from the new UI set, we'll work with brand to kind of get those filled out there. And then one of the biggest things is we will be updating our documentation on these different types, use cases, and our transition plan. But I think that's it.
Thanks, Becca. Next up is Eric Olkowski. And Eric, I think we probably have enough time that I can turn it over to you and you can demo a few of the things if you want to.
Perfect. That was going to be my first question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you. So before I get into things, just a couple things real quick. We don't have an official version of the latest Chatbot enhancements version yet. But I will put in chat the latest pre-release that you can use. Google Meet. Okay, a lot of pop-ups about me sharing my screen. Sorry. Yeah, so in chat is the latest pre-release version, if anyone's interested. We should have an official version before you know it, though. So I will put that in Slack in the working group Patternfly Chatbot extension channel once that's ready to go. And second is, Patrick, you've made the same mistake Andrew's made in the past by allowing me to present here because I have to hijack the meeting for a brief moment to let people know that it's Dress Up Your Pet Day. So if you have a pet that is willing, after this meeting, go dress them up in your favorite outfit. Or put in chat what your favorite outfit to put them in is. But yeah, Q4 chatbot enhancements. One of the big ones is messages got a bit of an upgrade. The main one is that previously chatbot messages were fairly strict. A came before C, or A came before B came before C, kind of thing. So you didn't really have any ability to dictate where things went. Now we allow you to just go as wild as you may need with where messages get or what parts of messages get rendered where. So you can have something loading here. You can have a tool response right below it, an error alert right dab in the middle, another loader, something loading in the middle of the message, and so on and so forth. You can have this little loading indicator as well. This is more at the bottom of this message, but you could have it like right above this loading more awesome tool call. And this example here kind of goes over some caveats or things to keep in mind, I should say. But this is definitely a lot more flexible for what you might need or want out of the chatbot. Second big thing is that a few of the tool call, tool response, and deep thinking, those now allow now have Markdown support. So if for whatever reason you need or want to use Markdown as part of the various aspects of those components, that's a bit more flexible now as well for the Markdown lovers out there. At the bottom, I did put links to, I'm going ahead. I put a link here to the example I just showed. Next up is response actions. Are now allow persistent and grouped selections. So response actions are these little doodads down here. Thumbs up, down. You can copy. You can enable listening. Previously, if you clicked an action and you clicked away, it no longer is clicked or selected. Now you can persist that selection. So if you click an action and click away, it remains clicked. It's always thumbs up, unless you change your mind. Maybe you want to thumbs down it now. And it remains selected until you click it again and deselect it. But then, what if you want to thumbs up and you also want to listen? You can only choose one or the other, kind of. With grouped actions, you can have different groups. So thumbs up and down is one group. You click it, click away, it remains selected. If I listen, I'm now listening, and my thumbs up remains. And this middle group of copy and download, they have no persistence. They're just, you click one and done, and that's all you really need to do. So a bit more flexible in these response actions as well. I guess it's a theme with this Q4 enhancement release, is that a little more flexibility for y'all. And that's all for response actions. Not a huge thing, but it's a very helpful thing, especially for accessibility, keeping things persistent. And now, giving you a little space, as in we're giving you space back in your UI. There's a few things here. I won't really show it, but our user feedback component within Chatbot, the compact styling got tweaked a little bit. Takes a little, or has been added, I should say. So if you want compact styling, that'll be inherited if the chatbot message has compact styling. Gives you a little space back. User avatars, little icons or images to the left of a message. Compact styling's been tweaked a little bit. And the padding for avatars and just messages in general have also been tweaked, so that both those things take up a little less space as well, just kind of like by default. At least for compact styling, that's when compact styling's enabled at least. And then, if you need even more space, we will now allow you to just completely remove that user avatar, because as you can see, it can take up a bit of space. So you get a little bit more horizontal space, which in turn could lead to a little more vertical space given back to you, depending how much text there is. So yeah, just can make things a little nicer for your UI if things are pretty cluttered already. That's not all. There's more stuff that come with Q4 enhancements. This isn't an exhaustive list on this slide. I do link the list, an issue where it lists everything that should be in the Q4 enhancements. Oh man, I'm trying to zoom in and scroll. First, the search actions have been added. And I have an example here. In the chat history nav, you have the search bar if you want. You can have actions at the start of it, at the end of it. That's kind of it. But you can have actions before and after the search input if you need. And this is a sort kind of thing. And this would be a filter. It doesn't do anything in this demo, but just to show what it looks like visually, you can see it still looks pretty nice. And then we have Chatbot as a whole, having high contrast support, which strives, towards our focus on accessibility across Patternfly in general. Huge kudos to, Lucia Design, just getting high contrast in Patternfly in general. So give them a thank you for that. We have the onboarding layout component being added in, and we have, going back to the compass work that had Michael went over, the message bar component pulled in some styling to show that off. So you can see here, it's got this funky, cool little gradient border around it, kind of like an AI indicator. And if you apply a specific class when you send a message, it kind of pulses. Hopefully it comes through on the screen share, but it pulses to indicate, the chatbot's thinking. And I believe it does it for like 10 seconds in this demo or so. So that's kind of a quick-ish rundown, as quick as I can get anyway, for Q4 enhancements. I know it's been mentioned about Q1 upcoming stuff. I can just really quick show this issue we have to show the issues or individual stories as part of that epic. The big ones being enhancements to message bar. These first two basically do it. This first one is to allow a more custom attach menu kind of thing that is at this before the search input, as well as to allow kind of custom actions below the input, like a model selector or a label to indicate canvas mode. And the second issue is, if you're familiar with Slack or Discord, similar apps, if you type a hash or an @ symbol in the message area, pops open a menu to tag something. That's essentially what that should be doing. And yeah, this is the whole list here of issues planned for the Q1 epic. I will update my slide to include this issue. That is it for me for Chatbot.
All right, thank you, Eric. All right, last is my turn. Let me get back to presentation mode. And here we go. There we go. All right, I'll go into slideshow mode and then pop out to go over to my little demo here. But so I just wanted to give you guys an update on some work I did last quarter with some significant help from Evan Wilkinson on pulling together a proof of concept for a metrics dashboard. And in that context, I want to follow up on some responses we got to the feedback button that we placed on patternfly.org in Q3. So all that said, so the goals there's two separate goals I want to go through here, like the dashboard goals, what we're hoping to get out of it, and then what we wanted to get out of this POC. So really primarily one thing we want to do is we want to assess the consumption of Patternfly across Red Hat, be it in the different packages and individual releases of those packages, as well as components primarily. And we also want to look at users' behavior on patternfly.org. Now that is possible looking at Google Analytics, but we can also bring that data into a dashboard that we can have like one-stop shopping, which is a goal of this as well, of this dashboard, is to have an easy access, consolidated location for all this data. So we can just go to one place and switch tabs and we can see it all at once. And finally, I did want to have an area on this dashboard that we could just look at responses for the feedback button and look at summaries and look at verbatim quotes from some of the people who left comments, look at their satisfaction, look at who they are, and so on and so forth. But for the POC, first, before we can do any of that, we had to like figure out what we wanted to add of the POC. We had to like figure out a platform. There were a couple of options, but we ended up landing on Google Looker Studio, which I believe meets all of our needs and allows us to slice and dice the data, present it in a variety of different graphs and charts that can be filtered and searched on. The other thing we wanted to do is I needed to identify and locate all the data sources. I think Evan had a good grasp on that, but he imparted all his wisdom to me, and so it allowed me to do that. And then finding that data, having to clean and transform it for consumption into Google Looker Studio. And then finally just build a dashboard and let's see what we can get. Throw some spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks. And so that's what you're going to be seeing when I get to the demo, is a lot of spaghetti on the wall. And some of it's going to be coming off. So I just want to give you a quick review of the feedback button before I get into the demo. So as you may recall, we added a fixed button to the right-hand center of the viewport on patternfly.org, and you can kind of see it. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's right there, that blue pill. So we want it as minimal friction as possible. So there's really like 2 required choices, and it's a scale. Like one is like, who are you? Like, are you a developer? Are you a designer? And are you with Red Hat, or are you part of the community, the broader community? And then we also asked, how satisfied are you on a 5-point scale with Patternfly? And then there's an open-ended feedback question. Hey, give us your feedback, whatever you're thinking. We'd love to hear it. And that's optional. And then there's also some optional, if you want to sign up, optional questions about if you want to sign up for research with Red Hat UXD. And then all that said, our goal was to establish a satisfaction benchmark by the end of 2025. And we did, and I'll share that with you. And essentially it was like all the SAT scores that we got from the middle of the 3rd quarter up until December 31st. And from there, we'll be basing, looking at to improve, or seeing if we do worse and what might have contributed to that. So at least we've got that benchmark. All right, I think, this is not what I want to show you right now. Let me go over to the dashboard. So this is the viewable version of the dashboard in Google Looker Studio. And what you're looking at right here is the major versions of React over time by repo. And this is all cross-filtered. So if I just wanted to look at version 18, I could click on that and it would filter out all the repos in the table and only show that in the graph. I don't want to go through all of this. I'll just show you a few things. We've got a tree map here of the React minor version usage, which shows proportionality of which ones are being consumed across all the different repos. So again, if I click that, it would cross filter to show me all the repos that are consuming that. If I wanted to look at component usage, this is a tree map that allows us to see which components are being consumed by proportionality, and it looks like button is by far the biggest consumer. And then I also have some timestamps on these, so we can see the deltas in change from from October to November. Again, these may not be valid or interesting or useful to anyone, and I'll get to how we're going to address that in that final slide there. Patternfly.org, this is basically updated daily from Google Analytics. So it's pulling in the data and it shows us the basic user behavior on patternfly.org. Again, there's a lot of data here. And again, I threw a lot of spaghetti on the wall. This may not survive to our final version, and we'll figure that out eventually. And I'll talk more about that later, but we can get things like, devices that access it, what browsers, what are the top component pages being viewed, so on and so forth. We also can look at search terms. I won't spend too much time on that. We have a different tool called Algolia, which is looking at search term that are used on Patternfly. So it helps us understand what people are interested in when they come to patternfly.org. But finally, let me go to the feedback button results to kind of bring this all together. So we got 13 responses, which I would be hoping for more engagement from the feedback button in say 5 months, but it is enough, I believe, to establish a benchmark. So we had a satisfaction. The average of the rank that people gave us for satisfaction was 3.36, which is slightly above, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, but at least the median score was 4, which is a satisfaction. So we can feel kind of good about that. I think there's plenty of room for improvement. We can look at, what we also look at is by demographics, who responded what. And so like if I'm a developer and Red Hat associate, I'm pretty much across the board. There's no like typical pattern here, and so on. And I can get rid of that. We've got some feedback responses here that we can filter if we need to by a role or affiliation, or we can filter by like, let's see what all the dissatisfied people had to say. So we filter by that. And we can also look for direct values on like if somebody say something about our button component, and look at it that way. So anyway, that is it. I will return back and tell you what's next for where we're going to take this. As I mentioned, there's going to be some updates. I would like to have a requirements gathering session with stakeholders. Some things I'd like to find out is a cadence to refresh the data. You might have noticed there was different dates and times on a lot of that. That's basically when I actually grabbed the data and started working with the POC. But we're going to want to refresh that on a regular schedule. And it may be different by different types of data. So we'll have to figure that out. I want to find out what might be useful on a homepage. I want to validate a lot of the interactions like searching and filtering, and look at the page layouts and put primary information above the fold, for example. Are the charts and graphs sufficient? Do you need more? Do you need less? Things like that. One effort we're going to have to tackle is we would like to map the repos to product areas and create a dashboard page with that data. So it's just it's a little obscure to try to like look at a repo and figure out what product is consuming what. So we want to like do a mapping of that. And from what I understand, it's not simple, but it can be done. It's just going to require like sitting down and like cross-referencing a lot of things to kind of figure out what those are. And once we get that done, I think that'll be very useful. Yeah, so once we get all that, I'm going to rebuild the dashboard pages and update the IA if necessary. And then in 2Q, looking forward, I'd like to validate that, maybe run some people through some testing, or just at least demo and get some feedback. And maybe even further than 2Q, but maybe do some visual updating and design and branding on it for Patternfly, because I just threw some Patternfly screen grab logo at the top corner pretty much, and that was it. But I think we can do better than that. But that is my presentation, and I will thank everyone for attending and throw it open for some questions. No questions? Does anybody want to bring up anything that we didn't cover? All right. Yes, Evan.
Hey, like I opened the floodgates. No, I was just going to say that this, you may have mentioned this in passing, but this list of tracked code bases has been manually maintained, and we've got different sources like GitHub dependencies or potentially NPM connections we can look at. But I think as we start to publicize this dashboard and this data more, it's really helpful for us to do some strategic planning and resourcing around, what teams may want to take advantage of newer features, but may be on older versions, and do some proactive outreach there. So I guess the ask long term is, if there is a product that anyone listening to this call is connected to that's using Patternfly that maybe isn't on our roadmap, or when we share it out, you notice is missing, we'd love to have that. It's not an intentional oversight. It's just, we kind of add these things as we discover them. And so having that comprehensive list gets us the best data too. So thanks in advance, and looking forward to working together on that.
Cool. Thank you. Andrew.
Yeah, I just realized after the fact, but I wanted to clarify something that the unified theme that I was talking about with Lucia earlier it is a theme. So you can opt into it. You can toggle, you can choose your own adventure on that one. So it's not that Patternfly is switching fully to be a Red Hat look and feel. The blue traditional UI that you all know and love is still going to be the defaults. And then this is another option that will be available.
All right. Anyone else? All right. You.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
please.
I'm just an outside contributor. Like I've been contributing for the past 7-8 months. I just wanted to push the idea of you guys participating in GSOC if it's possible. I feel like the community around Patternfly and the maintainers are very good. I think it would be great if you guys could participate in GSOC, and I think it help with the community engagement, getting more people onboarded from outside, and it would be great for feedback also, like getting people onboarded from outside that like can bring a fresh perspective for outside. I think something like that. So I think the registration would be starting for GSOC for organization. It's starting from 19th Jan, and I guess it's still 3rd or 4th step. So it would be very great if you guys could participate. Just wanted to bring that up if that can happen.
Thank you for the heads up there. Have we ever participated in that before? Anybody? Patternfly team? Do we know?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But we can definitely look into it.
Yeah.
I know we've worked with like a university course in the past and kind of paired with them. We've had mentorships, so yeah, we can definitely look into this and see if it's a fit or something. Yeah, maybe even that Red Hat has a broader connection with as well. Yeah, thank you for the suggestion though, and for dropping the link.
All right. Yep. Well, we've hit the top of the hour, and I think we're out of questions. So everybody, thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Pat.